Hi, welcome to Fourth Flashback. This is the first part of introducing the best gangster films. The Irishman tells the story of an Irish-American veteran soldier who accepts an offer from organized crime groups to steal his truck's cargo, leading him into a world of collaboration with gangsters. He quickly rises through the ranks and, as the trusted associate of his boss, is assigned bigger tasks like larger thefts, beatings, extortion, and ultimately, murder. Meanwhile, key players in labor unions find it in their interest to closely collaborate with these criminal groups. And who doesn't know that these friendships and collaborations won't prevent one of these friends from being sent to take care of him one day, perhaps right behind his house. Martin Scorsese directed this film, featuring a star-studded cast that includes Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, Harvey Keitel, Stephen Graham, and Bobby Cannavale. The film runs for 3.5 hours and is unmistakably a gangster movie. Children over 14 or 15 years old can watch it with their families, and if you're a die-hard fan of Martin Scorsese, you won't be disappointed. I would rate this film as average quality. Personally, I'm a true fan of Scorsese's cinema, but I don't think this film ranks among his top works. In my view, the audience for this film is mainstream, and it fits comfortably into that category. God's Pocket takes place in the neighborhood of God's Pocket, where the locals are simple people who follow their routines, work, marry, and have children. One day their children will likely leave the neighborhood. Everyone here has witnessed something or, as kids, maybe even burned down someone's house. Everyone knows each other in God's Pocket, but the one thing they can't tolerate is someone who isn't from the neighborhood. These are monologues from a journalist at the beginning of the film, who serves as the omniscient narrator for much of the story. He describes the local area as a place filled with small-time crooks, inept yet amusing at the same time. Directed by John Slattery, the film features a great cast, including Philip Seymour Hoffman, John Turturro, Richard Jenkins, Eddie Marsan, and Christina Hendricks. It's about 1.5 hours long, and while it has comedic elements, it's not really a family film. I think it's a funny and well-made movie. The target audience includes both general viewers and discerning ones who want to watch something entertaining and well-crafted. The story of Billy follows a man who is expelled from the police department so that he can infiltrate the mafia. The twist in this story is that Frank Costello, the head of the mafia, also wields influence within the police department, including its upper ranks. The tension escalates as both sides, the mafia led by Frank Costello and the police with Billy, realize that there is a mole within their ranks, leaking information to the opposing side. Directed by Martin Scorsese and written by William Monahan, who adapted the story from a Hong Kong film, this film is a thrilling remake. However, I find the original film so weak that it's hard to watch until the end, and its storyline doesn't really align with The Departed. Despite this, The Departed stands as a brilliant adaptation of an otherwise lackluster Hong Kong film. The cast includes Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Mark Wahlberg, Jack Nicholson, along with Alec Baldwin, Martin Sheen, and Vera Farmiga. One of the producers, in parentheses, is Brad Pitt. The film runs for 2.5 hours and is an action-packed thriller. While it can be watched in a family setting, there is brief but intense violence in some scenes. I give this film an excellent rating. It's a favorite among many of Martin Scorsese's films, and in my opinion, it's an outstanding work without exaggeration. The audience includes general viewers, casual fans, and discerning cinephiles. Consequences of Love is about a middle-aged man named Tita Di Girolamo, who has been living in a luxurious hotel in Switzerland for 8 years. His daily routine is monotonous, walking, solving puzzles with a middle-aged couple, playing cards, occasionally glancing at a cheerful hotel employee, and using heroin once a week. He has maintained this routine consistently without deviation. He also regularly delivers a bag of money to the bank on behalf of the mafia. However, this calm rhythm is soon disrupted, altering the course of the story. Directed by Paolo Sorrentino and starring Tony Servillo, the film runs for 1 hour and 40 minutes. It is a thriller and drama, though its unconventional rhythm and composition do not follow traditional gangster movie rules. I think it's a good film, and with some adjustments, it could have been excellent. The film is geared toward discerning viewers who seek well-crafted, unique cinema, particularly those who enjoy European non-English-speaking gangster films. The Sleepers tells the story of four friends, young boys living in the impoverished neighborhoods of New York, where criminal gangs are active. As they grow up, they start mingling with these gangs. A local priest, who has a criminal past, tries to keep the boys away from this environment. However, one day, a moment of mischief leads the boys to steal from a convenience store, triggering an event that lands them in juvenile detention. There, life-changing events unfold. Directed by Barry Levinson, the film stars Robert De Niro, Kevin Bacon, Dustin Hoffman, and Brad Pitt. It runs for 2 hours and 25 minutes, and its prison and courtroom drama elements are prominent. It's better not to watch this film with family, and I would rate it as average. However, it's certainly worth watching at least once. The film appeals to both mainstream and niche audiences. Hatred, animosity, and resentment erupt during one of the recurring street riots in Paris. In one such riot, the police beat a man so brutally that he ends up in the intensive care unit, hovering between life and death. This incident fuels the hatred and anger of three young men toward the police. Vince, with a restless and aggressive personality, mimics the character of Travis Bickle from Scorsese's Taxi Driver in front of a mirror. Hubert, a man with a troubled background who has had dealings with drug dealers, and Saeed, who acts as the peacemaker between Hubert and Vince to keep them from clashing too much, complete the trio. Vince mentions that he has found a missing police officer's gun and vows, or rather threatens, that if the condition of the man in the hospital worsens, or if he dies, he will kill a police officer. The film is directed by Mathieu Kassovitz, who is also an actor. You might recognize his face, as he's a well-known figure in French cinema, alongside Vincent Cassel. The film has a runtime of 1 hour and 40 minutes, and it falls into the categories of social drama, thriller, and suspense. I'm not entirely sure if it's suitable for family viewing, so that choice is up to you. However, it is undoubtedly an excellent film, truly beloved and unique. It's a film for the masses, but even discerning viewers can enjoy this special black and white film. It may also appeal to those interested in French cinema and street culture. Sam is chosen by the mafia from New York and Chicago to manage one of the world's gambling capitals, Las Vegas. Sam, while being a member of these criminal circles, possesses a calm, organized, and disciplined personality. His methods lead to a significant increase in the casino's profits. With the arrival of Nikki and Ginger, Sam's life and the casino's operations undergo dramatic changes. Nikki, sent to protect Sam and the casino, becomes one of his biggest problems due to her extremely aggressive nature. Meanwhile, Ginger, initially Sam's girlfriend and later his wife, transforms his life in a different but equally complex way. The film is directed by Martin Scorsese and stars Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Sharon Stone, and James Woods. It runs for nearly 3 hours. And while it is certainly a gangster film, it is not suitable for family viewing. The film contains sexual content and some of the most violent scenes of beatings and murders. I think the film is far more than just good, which is why I give it a top-notch rating. It's a movie that appeals to mainstream audiences who enjoy thrilling narratives, but there is also enough in it to captivate more discerning viewers who appreciate a well-crafted story. If you haven't seen this film yet, it's definitely worth checking out. There's a criminal gang that dominates the streets, led by a figure named Sonny. Young Calogero finds himself irresistibly drawn to Sonny and the world of power and money that he represents. Fast forward 8 years, and Calogero, now a 17-year-old, continues his relationship with Sonny. His bond with the charismatic gangster deepens, much to his father's despair, creating a tense undercurrent between father and son, the struggle between morality and the allure of criminal glamour. As expected in stories of this nature, such relationships often come with tragic consequences. Directed by Robert De Niro in one of his 2 directorial efforts, A Bronx Tale sees De Niro also starring in the film alongside Chaz Palminteri, who not only acts in the film, but also penned both the screenplay and the original play upon which the movie is based. It's a tight 2-hour film that falls under the coming-of-age genre, enriched by its examination of adolescence in a world where familial values clash with the temptations of the streets. It's a film that deftly balances the intimate and the epic, a tale of growing up in the shadow of organized crime, while navigating the moral compass of a father's guidance. It's not just a popular film, but one that resonates with a broad audience, yet retains an authenticity that cinephiles can appreciate for its attention to character development and the dynamics of loyalty. Shifting gears into another gangster epic, this one transcending the genre's typical confines, Sergio Leone's Once Upon a Time in America offers a non-linear journey through the fog of memory. We follow a gangster, Noodles, played by Robert De Niro, whose life has been marked by crime, prison, and ultimately, a return to the forgotten streets where he once thrived. The film's structure is as fragmented as the protagonist's psyche, using flashbacks to piece together the complex tapestry of Noodles' life, love, and loss. The narrative is not merely about crime, but about time itself, the inevitable passage of it, the memories that haunt us, and the faces we lose along the way. As Noodles revisits his old haunts, the weight of history, both personal and social, bears down on him. Sergio Leone employs his signature sprawling operatic style here, with a runtime of 3 hours and 10 minutes. The film features a stellar cast including Joe Pesci and James Woods, but perhaps the most essential collaborator is Ennio Morricone, whose score weaves through the film like a second narrative. Leone famously said, "Morricone is not just my composer, but my screenwriter." Once Upon a Time in America offers a profound meditation on memory, identity, and the inexorable passage of time. While the film's length and its melancholic tone might deter casual viewers, for those with a deep love for cinema. Before we wrap up, I'll briefly mention a few titles that might stir some debate, so grab your snacks and popcorn. First up is American Gangster, 2007, directed by Ridley Scott and starring Denzel Washington. If you've missed this one, well, you haven't missed much. Next, we have a true classic, The Sting, 1973, directed by George Roy Hill and featuring the legendary Paul Newman. It's not a recent film, but it firmly holds its place in the cinematic canon. To sit down and watch this, though, you really need to be a dedicated follower of classic cinema. For those who appreciate the art of the con and the sharp wit of Newman, this one has likely already been seen. For the general audience, it might not immediately appeal, but it's absolutely worth at least one viewing for its place in film history. Mean Streets 1973 by Martin Scorsese is up next. It features an early performance from Robert De Niro, and while it's an important part of Scorsese's journey, it feels more like a prelude, a rough sketch for what would later become more polished, iconic works. It's an essential watch for Scorsese completists, but if you haven't seen it yet, it's not a glaring omission from your viewing list. There's more to come in part 2 of this series. In the meantime, I'm curious to know, which film on this list stands out as your favorite? How would you rate it? What would your evaluation be? And of course, are there any other significant gangster films you think deserve a spot in this discussion? Until the next flashback, may your love for cinema keep you happy and healthy. Goodbye for now.